Welcome to the channel, and today in the series of DS Special Education IDD syllabus first paper, Introduction to Disabilities, we are starting the second subtopic of our first unit, Understanding Disability. We have already covered the first topic, Historical Perspectives of Disability, in our previous video, so check it out. So the second topic is concept, meaning and definition, handicap, impairment, disability, activity limitation, habilitation, and rehabilitation. So let's start. Education is a lifelong process involving many planned and unplanned experiences that enable children and adults alike to develop and learn through interaction with the society and culture in which they live. It involves experiences at all stages of life from infancy through to old age. Education also involves adaptations to society and culture with all the combinations of life events. Adaptation will mean that each person is subject to a unique set of learning and problem-solving experiences that constitute an understanding of the world and the events that take place in it. However, if we limit our attendance to intentional learning and instruction of children across the time from preschool to tertiary education, this would involve learning from a curriculum that has been determined by the central or state education authority. There are many children who, for some reason, are unable to take full advantage of the school curriculum as it is normally offered. For these children, special arrangements must be made to ensure that they receive the opportunities and experiences which will help them to learn and develop to the extent of their capabilities. To help us to deal with the question of who these children may be, we need to first understand a few adjectives which you will, no doubt, encounter in your reading about children with special needs. These adjectives are impaired, disabled, and handicapped. Over the years, these terms have often been used interchangeably, but at times carelessly. However, they have specific meanings and conceptual differences which are important for us to know. International Classification of Impairment, Disability and Handicap as given by World Health Organization (WHO). The World Health Organization (WHO) has defined the terms impairment, disability, and handicap in 1980 through the publication of the International Classification of Impairments, Disabilities, and Handicaps (ICIDH), which is a manual of classification relating to the consequences of diseases. The ICIDH proposes the concepts and definitions of impairment, disability, and handicap, and discusses the relation between these dimensions. It is based on a linear model, figure 1, implying progression from disease, impairment, and disability to handicap. Definitions of impairment, disability, and handicap. Impairment. According to ICIDH, impairment is any loss or abnormality of psychological, physiological, or anatomical structure or functions generally taken to be at organ level. Impairment is damage to tissue due to disease or trauma. A person who has poor or no vision due to damage to retina or optic nerve may be said to have a visual impairment. Disability. Disability has been defined as any restriction or lack of ability resulting from an impairment to perform an activity in the manner or within the range considered normal for a human being, generally taken to be at the level of the individual. Disability denotes the consequences of impairment in terms of functional performance and activity by the individual. A person who has an optic nerve or retinal damage would have limitations in performing those tasks that requires the use of eyesight. Handicap. The ICIDH defines handicap as a disadvantage for an individual resulting from an impairment of disability which limits or prevents fulfillment of a role that is normal. depending on age, sex, and social cultural factors for that individual. So we have a table here. Condition concerned with and represents. So the condition is impairment. It is concerned with abnormalities of body structure, organs, appearance, and system functioning, and represents disturbances at organ or tissue level. Disability is concerned with limitation or loss of functional performance and activities and represents disturbance on a personal level. Handicap is concerned with disadvantages resulting from impairment and disabilities, and it represents situation specific limitations. References among the terms. The differences have been clearly outlined in the definitions of each of the term by WHO in the International Classification of Impairment, Disability and Handicaps. Impairment represents exteriorization of a pathological state and occurs at a tissue level. Disability refers to excesses or deficiencies of customarily expected activity, performance, and behavior and is located at the level of the person. Handicap reflects the consequences for the individual, cultural, social, economic, and environmental that stem from the presence of impairment and disability. Activity limitation. It is a dimension of health and disability capturing long-standing limitation in performing usual activities due to health problems. Indicators based on this concept can be used to evaluate the general health status, disability and related inequalities, and health care needs to be at population level. Example of an operational definition used within the European statistical system. One question instrument. The Global Activity Limitation Instrument GALI assessing the presence of long-standing activity limitation for at least the past 6 months. To what extent have you been limited because of a health problem in activities people usually do? Would you say you have been severely limited, limited but not severely limited, or not limited at all? The question was developed by the Euro Revis project. It is used in European Health Interviews Survey EHIS, HS3 variable, and EU Statistics on Income and Living Conditions EU SILC PH030 variable. Although they work side by side, rehabilitation and habilitation means two different things. Habilitation refers to a process aimed at helping disabled people attain, keep, or improve skills and functioning for daily living. Its services include physical, occupational, and speech language therapy, various treatments related to pain management and audiology, and other services that are offered in both hospital and outpatient locations. Rehabilitation refers to regaining skills, abilities, or knowledge that may have been lost or compromised as a result of acquiring a disability or due to a change in one's disability or circumstances. As defined in the CRPD, habilitation and rehabilitation enable persons with disabilities to attain and maintain maximum independence, full physical, mental, social, and vocational ability, and full inclusion and participation in all aspects of life. Without adequate habilitation and rehabilitation services, persons with disabilities may not be able to work, go to school, or participate in cultural, sports, or leisure activities. At the same time, barriers to other human rights can prevent persons with disabilities from claiming the right to habilitation and rehabilitation. Services may exist, but if there is not accessible transportation, many persons with disabilities will not receive the benefit of these services. If information about habilitation and rehabilitation services is not available in accessible formats, persons with disabilities may never know that they exist. So this was our second topic. This was our second topic: concept, meaning and definition, handicap, impairment, disability, activity limitation, habilitation and rehabilitation. In next part, we will cover definition, categories of benchmark disabilities and the legal provisions for PWDs in India. So stay tuned for that, and I hope this video helped. Thanks for watching.